All right, guys. Here we are reading another fan fiction. This one is called "The Story of Us" by Ginny Skeens. The summary of this story is
Jenny
love is
Skeens, like skinny
difficult.
jeans.
Exactly. Love is difficult, but it's real. Sakura learns that growing up means saying goodbye and learning how to begin again. Senior year is going to change everything. Um, and it's a Sasuke Sakura AU fan fiction. This is obviously Naruto fan fiction, and this is a author that I was super into back in the day. She kind of disappeared from the internet, so for some reason she emerges and wants this fanfic reading taken down. Totally fine. Just let us know. But otherwise, we are going to read the story of us, chapter one.
Here we go.
Uh, I'll
This is called Last
be
Kiss,
I'll be
Chapter
Kiba.
1. Okay, sure.
Um,
Chapter 1, Last Kiss.
just promise me you won't get mad. Kiba's voice was quelling, like he was doing damage control, and Sakura hated it when he did that. Like he thought she was a live wire or something that needed to be handled delicately. Already, she disliked where this conversation was going because Kiba seemed to have more and more to apologize for lately, and she seemed to try to control her temper before giving Kiba a reason to be uneasy around her. She took a sip from her water bottle and set it back down on the bleachers before raising an eyebrow to show that she was listening. But she wouldn't promise to not get mad.
He chewed on his bottom lip, a nervous habit of his, before running a hand through his messy hair. He exhaled sharply through his nose and blurted out.
Got me.
Sakura blinked.
It meant nothing, Kiba added quickly, his hands on her shoulders. The look in his brown eyes was shockingly repentant, given the nature of his crime against her and their 1 year relationship. Sakura didn't move. Seriously, it meant nothing. Sakura, I promise. I don't know, babe. It just kind of happened.
Wait, who's Amy?
I think it's a, I think it's like a OC or something.
Oh, okay, this is a self-insert character.
Maybe.
Okay. I'm just curious. Sakura's anger and hurt rendered her completely stunned, and she barely managed to choke out. When?
After football camp last week, he muttered. His grip on her shoulders tightened like he was worried that she was going to run off or something, as if as if she could will her frozen legs into moving, as if she could focus on anything but the sweltering summer heat, the blazing summer sun, and the way it felt like her heart was cracking right down the middle. When you went school shopping with Eno, she hit me up and we got to talking. And Sakura, I'm really sorry. I didn't mean to hurt you. It was all one big mistake, an accident. I swear, babe.
Sakura scoffed, a very unladylike snort escaping her as she pushed his hands off of her, rising quickly to her feet. Funny how guys always say the same shit, she snapped. Her stomach turned with her disgust. Angry tears pricked at her eyes, but like hell she would let him see that. And she wanted nothing more than to push him right off the bleachers, right in front of all of his football friends. I didn't mean to hurt you. It meant nothing. It was an accident. What, Kiba? Kiba, right?
Yeah,
not Kaiba.
correct.
What, Kiba? What? Did you trip into. Did you trip and her broke your fall? Dang, okay.
Kiba winced a little, but tried again. She came on to me. I didn't go looking for it. She came on to me, and
Do you have any idea how many guys hit on me since we got together last year? She asked him, her voice rising. Any idea at all? There had been so many offers, so many opportunities from guys who were better looking, or sweeter, or funnier, or smarter than Kiba Inuzuka. Offers she had turned down without so much as a thought. She was in a committed relationship after all. She just assumed that he was too. We're done, obviously, she hissed. She sidestepped him and hopped down the rest of the bleachers, fully determined to march straight home, tell her dad about it, and cry until college.
done? Babe, what do you mean, done? He had
Babe,
to be
wait!
kidding. He had to be. The tears in her eyes vanished with the force of her rage, and she whirled around to see him with a kicked puppy look on his face, a handsome face she wanted nothing more than to smash in her fury.
It means I'm dumping your worthless ass. she shot back. Fucking idiot. You fucking trash bag. You can do whatever the hell you want. I don't care, but you don't ever look at me, talk to me, think about me again. Sakura was vaguely aware by now that they were attracting a fair amount of attention. It couldn't be helped. Kiba had confronted her during the football and cheer camp half hour break, perhaps under the misguided delusion that Sakura wouldn't make a scene in front of a huge audience. But he had miscalculated. He always did. She looked over at the football field and saw many of the players looking at them curiously. The other cheerleaders were gathered at the top of the stands, and a hush had befallen the entire Konoha High School football stadium as everyone tried to listen in.
It won't happen again, Kiba vowed. His hand gestures indicated he was trying to shush her. Sakura was almost incandescent with rage at this point. She glared at him, her hands curling into fists, and contemplated of breaking if breaking every bone in her hand was a price she was willing to pay just to wipe that puppy dog look off his tattooed face. Babe, I promise. It meant nothing. I swear it won't happen again. You're the only girl for me. Everyone knows it.
So he has like triangle face tattoos.
Yes,
Okay. Uh all right, got it.
for sure.
If I was the only girl for you, she bit out stiffly. You wouldn't have smashed the school trash can. Oh, oh
Dang.
my god. Leave me the F alone. I never want to talk to you again.
You don't mean that. Kiba said nervously, looking around them at the gathering spectators. Ino was already making her way down the bleachers to where they were arguing off the field. Naruto and Shikamaru were
Hey.
in off the fields. Were coming in off the fields. Sakura noted that Sasuke, one of her fringe friends, looked displeased, probably because he was turning their night practice into a soap opera. Babe, I love you. You know I love you. Don't throw away everything we ever had over one stupid mistake.
Our boys, Naruto and Shikamaru.
You know.
They there.
Hey.
And Sasuke, the fringe friend.
You know, that friend who's like not really a friend, but his friend was all your other friends, you know?
I get it. Yeah, I've just never heard the phrase fringe friend.
Nah, me neither.
Get a Big Mac with some fringe friends.
So-
uh, I didn't throw it away, Kiba, she screamed, erupting at last. He shoved her chest, forcing him back away from her, and he stumbled before righting himself again, looking wounded. I didn't throw anything away, you asshole. You did. You threw it away.
It was nothing like the confident, assertive speeches she's seen her favorite actresses on TV, eloquent and badass. It was pure, straight, unequivocal rage and heartache manifested into this one sided screaming match, and she didn't even care. She knew that she would have plenty of time to be embarrassed about the way she was acting later, but for now, nothing was more important than throwing Kiba's words back in his face, telling him exactly what was on her mind. Baby, wait, he protested, grabbing her arm, but she wrenched it quickly out of his grasp.
Don't touch me! She cried as Ino, Naruto, and Shikamaru reached them at last to try and defuse the situation. Keep your hands off of me! I hate you! I hate you! Don't you ever come near me again!
Sakura, I.
Get out of here! Oh, wait. Is that
That was
Ino?
Eno. I'll
My
be
bad.
Eno.
Okay, you beat Ino.
Get out of here. Eno's authoritative bark cut off whatever pathetic pleas Kiba was going to make. She slung an arm around Sakura's shoulders, businesslike and efficient in her role as best friend. All of you, get back to your practices. Nothing to see here.
No one dared question Ino, the blue-eyed bombshell with a temper as volatile as her best friend's. With a fair amount of grumbling, the football players returned to the field, the cheerleaders back to their practice area by the tennis court. Sakura trembled with anger and hurt, blind to the gradual dispersion of the crowd who'd gathered to see the show, and didn't notice Sasuke lingering a bit by the Gatorade cooler, like he was trying to listen in.
Shikamaru grabbed Kiba by the arm and nodded back to the field. Come on, man, he said. Leave her alone. You heard him. Let's get back to work. But Sakura, don't do this. I swear it'll never happen again. Kiba tried again one last time, but Sakura was having none of it, and she was filled with gratitude to Ino, who seemed to know exactly what she needed. Get out of here, Kiba, Ina ordered. Ino ordered. This is over.
This is over. This is over. This is over. The words finally sunk in, and to her horror, tears of sadness rose quickly to her eyes. She and Kiba had broken up many, many times over the past year, but the breakups had never lasted more than a few days, and usually came about because of silly, petty arguments they both easily dismissed. But this? Cheating? There was no coming back from that. It was over.
Kiba looked at her one last time, warm brown eyes full of regret, and he allowed Shikamaru to tuck him back to the field. I think that's Naruto.
Oh, I'll see you at practice tomorrow, Naruto promised his
I love
friends
that.
before joining Ino at Sakura's side. And now that Kiba and the others were out of earshot, she felt her self control rapidly diminishing. Tears leaked from her eyes at last, and she looked up at her two best friends, positively brimming with heartache. He cheated on me, she whispered.
Cheated? Echoed. With who?
He cheated on you? Naruto gasped, like it was all the more shocking that Sakura was the wounded party. Like it was so unheard of for someone to take a girl like Sakura Haruno for granted. Amy, Sakura whimpered
Whatever her
before.
name is.
I don't know. Ami, Sakura whimpered before bursting into tears. She allowed Ino to hug her tightly, and then Naruto's warm arms wrapped around them both. Uh, is this Sakura?
Mm-hmm.
Guys, I don't know. I can't do this year. I gotta leave.
Sure, said with a firm nod. I'll take you home. I took my car to practice today.
I'll go with you too, Naruto added, like it was a foregone conclusion. And Sakura was filled with a burgeoning love of her best friends, who seemed to know precisely what to do in a situation like this. She was seconds from falling apart, but they swooped in to save the day at the most crucial moment. But my car, she sniffled, and Naruto shook his head. Don't
Don't.
worry.
Oh, that was you. That's Naruto.
I think it's Naruto.
Yeah, it is.
Don't worry. I'll have Asshole bring it to your house for you. Give me your keys.
By asshole, he meant Sasuke Uchiha. Sasuke is one of her best friends from childhood, but over the past few months or so, they'd grown apart, and she saw less and less of him lately. He seemed to avoid her more often than not, apart from being lab partners during AP Chem and hanging out with the same crowd. They hadn't seen much of each other recently. She doubted he would want to be doing her favors, but Naruto took her keys before she could protest.
I'll meet you guys at your car, Naruto said. I'll tell Asshole what's going on. And don't cry, Sakura. He ain't worth it. The girls watched as Naruto jogged back onto the field. Sasuke was waiting by the the Gatorade cooler, and Sakura couldn't hear what they were saying, but his expression became more and more pissed. Isn't it
So
just
angry,
usually pissed?
right?
Just great. Now she was inconveniencing him on top of making a total ass out of herself in front of all of her friends. The thought made her cry harder, and Ino started pulling her to the parking lot.
Oh, it's okay, baby. Muttered as they headed towards her little purple Honda, Sakura half unable to see through a haze of her tears of anger and regret. He didn't deserve you. He didn't. And I know it doesn't feel like it now, she went on, looking hard into Sakura's eyes, tearing up a little herself because best friends shared each other's pain. But it'll be okay, I promise. This won't last forever. This is
This is
over.
over. Ah! Abruptly staring pathetically at her best friend and trying not to break, Sakura thought back to just that morning. How happy she'd been when Kiba picked her up and took her for breakfast at her favorite diner. What are these high schoolers doing? Who's
Right.
getting breakfast
With what
before
money?
school? What money and what like sleep?
Right.
He smiled so easily, so guiltlessly, like there was absolutely nothing wrong, and in their volatile hot and cold relationship, it was a comfortable high point. He called her beautiful, and before dropping her off at home so they could get ready for their he called her beautiful and before dropping her off at home so they could each get ready for their respective camp practices, he'd kissed her. A sweet, lovely kiss that made her lips tingle. How was Sakura supposed to know, looking into his happy, innocent brown eyes and letting the warm feelings fill her from within, that that was going to be the last one?
Oh no.
Oh no.
I feel nothing. Anyway.
I'm just like, oh, high schooler.
Seriously, that's exactly where I'm at.
But reading this in high school, I'd be like,
I I think that was the thing. I was reading it like I think I was reading it in high school.
Hey, Savannah here. There's no ending to this episode because we just jumped into the next part. So thank you for making it this far. If you did, please check out chapter 2. It is way funnier because we get super tired while we're recording this fanfic. So, thanks for watching. You're the best. Have a good night.